What's up, friend? Since the announcement of Crimson Desert in 2019, a lot of people were wondering if Pearl Abyss was building their next flagship MMO to replace the old and crusty Black Desert. And I've heard so many times the question, will Crimson Desert replace BDO? No. The answer is no. If you open this video just for a yes or no answer, you can now close it and maybe like the video as a token of appreciation for not wasting your time. If you want to know why, here's everything we know about Crimson Desert and why I think PA is being purposefully misleading their audience when it comes to Crimson Desert. The game was first announced on August 2019 during the PA quarterly financial earning reports, where they said they started to work on 6 new titles, one of which was a AAA RPG removed from the Black Desert IP. A console-focused game with cross-platform launch on PC, mobile and streaming services. After the initial announcement, they went quiet for a while, with just some mention here and there in the next few earning reports, where the investors were pressuring Pearl Abyss to release a playable demo, or just overall asking when the game is going to be released. At first, PA told them that a playable beta would have been available during winter 2020. But because of the global situation, they decided to postpone it since they wanted to show it at a convention. If you look around and search for news about the game, you will find so many websites and articles calling Crimson Desert an MMORPG, and here's why I think PA is trying to be sneaky and a bit misleading. Up until I started researching for this video, I was so sure that Pearl Abyss called Crimson Desert an MMORPG, and so many of my friends also thought that it was going to be one. But I've actually never managed to find an official source where the game is described as one. They did drop a super generic statement last year in an interview saying that they think the true experience of an MMORPG involves a lot of player trade and interactions. And that's what they're looking for. But since then, they've been super careful about what terminology they use to describe their game. And only external news sources were calling Crimson Desert an MMORPG. There's a couple of examples, like here in an interview, they ask Pearl Abyss. They're both going to be MMORPGs, so what are you going to do to separate it from Black Desert and the other MMORPG titles that you're working on to make it a unique experience? And the lead producer kinda just says that Crimson Desert is going to focus more on the story, without touching the MMORPG topic. Or in one of the first interviews where they drop some super generic answers that just hint at a multiplayer aspect of the game, without actually giving any concrete answer. In the latest interview by MMO Culture, they say PA mentioned Crimson Desert was an MMORPG, and we can see them talking about co-op options in the game, PvP, raids and siege content. But at the same time, they are very adamant about the fact that the game is going to be very focused on PvE and mainly story-driven. So, which one is it, PA? Is it an MMORPG or is it a single-player story-driven game? In the gameplay trailer they showed at Game Awards, we only saw the single-player experience and gameplay, which by the way looks gorgeous and amazing. But so far, they've been incredibly unclear when it comes to the actual multiplayer part of the game. And if you look in their official Discord, they say that Crimson Desert is an open-world action-adventure that combines elements of narrative-driven single-player games with online multiplayer functionality, which says nothing and everything at the same time. After reading every possible interview and rewatching every trailer, my personal take is that the game is going to be very similar to Monster Hunter, where you have a somewhat open-world RPG game, where you have your friends join you to help you through the story, and some aspects of PvP here and there, like in Dark Souls, when players can invade your world. I think to actually understand what PA is doing here, you need some insight on how they operate. I've played and followed Black Desert and Pearl Abyss for about 5 years now, and they have a tendency of trying to tap into every type of content without really diving too deep into it. I wouldn't be surprised if the PvP or, in general, the multiplayer aspect of Crimson Desert will be very shallow and just there to satisfy some fans. And here's why I think they're being misleading. PA so far has only released MMORPG games. Shadow Arena didn't exist, we're not talking about that one. And that's what they're known for. That's where their main target audience is. They know if they said Crimson Desert was going to be just a single player game, then most of the people that know about it won't even be interested in it. So they're trying their hardest to dodge all the questions about it by giving very vague answers. Maybe I'm wrong and I'm reading too much into this. Maybe they just don't have a solid plan on what to do with the multiplayer side of Crimson Desert. so they are avoiding saying stuff that they can't deliver. But regardless of that, the game looks very good for what it is now, and I will likely play it, MMORPG or not. This is my last video of 2020. It's been a crazy year for me. I took the unfortunate situation as an opportunity to work really hard on my content, and it's been a crazy ride. I tend to procrastinate a lot, but I promised myself that I was going to make one video a week. And since January, I've released 42 videos. Had to skip some weeks here and there, sometimes because of sources outside of my control, sometimes because of poor mental state, and sometimes because of laziness. But I'm incredibly proud and humbled by what we've built in 1 year. Trying to make a quality video each week while streaming and working a normal job has not been easy, but it has been worth it. I don't want to ponder too much, because you guys are smarter than that. But I truly appreciate everyone watching my videos and supporting my channel. So thank you so much for being here, and see you in 2021. Kisses.